Good morning, everyone. We're in Psalm 125 this morning. It's a beautiful and encouraging psalm. It's only 5 verses, so it's pretty short, but it says an awful lot. It begins, "Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be moved but abides forever. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people from this time forth and forever. For the scepter of wickedness shall not rest on the land allotted to the righteous, lest the righteous reach out their hands to iniquity. Do good, O Lord, to those who are good, and to those who are upright in their hearts. As for such as turn aside to their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them away with the workers of iniquity. Peace be upon Israel. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be moved but abides forever." What an encouraging thought, that when we place our trust in God, that trust puts us on a firm foundation. It's like a mountain that can't be moved, no matter how much you want to push against it or shove against it. It is fixed and immovable and will abide forever. It says, as the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people. So it's not only are we fixed in our position when we trust in God, but that the Lord himself is surrounding us, guarding us, and preserving us. And it says, from this time forth and forever, that the protection of God among his people and upon his people will never dissipate, never fade away. Because of that, the scepter of wickedness won't rest on the land allotted to the righteous. All the evil in this world that is heaped up against God's people will not be able to overcome them. God will guard them and protect them, and God will keep us in his righteousness. It says, "Do good, O Lord, to those who are good, and to those who are upright in their hearts." Now, this verse troubles me a little bit when I first read it, because I say, who is really good? Just like the question that Jesus asked when the rich young ruler came up to him and said, "Good master," and he said, "Why do you call me good?" He was trying to get him to understand that Jesus' goodness was a sign of his divinity. And the only truly good one is God. So if our ability to receive from God blessing was based on our goodness alone, we would all fall short, because we all sin and fall short of the glory of God. But when we come to faith in Jesus Christ, a marvelous thing happens. There was a transaction that happened on the cross where Jesus took our sin upon himself, but also in doing so imparted to us his righteousness. It was imputed to us. It was accounted to us. It was marked in our ledger. Not that we deserved it, but God transferred the privileges of the righteousness of Jesus Christ onto our account. So in the eyes of the Lord, it's as if we had never sinned. We call this justification. So those who are good are those who not have had perfect lives, but those who have trusted in the saving work of Jesus Christ. And God will do good to them because God himself is good. And because of that, we can expect goodness in our life. Many times when we're disappointed with the circumstances in our life, it's because we don't understand how God is working out that goodness in that particular moment in our life. We all encounter times of pain, sometimes issues and occurrences of great tragedy. But when we are able to view it from the heavenly perspective, we'll see that even through those painful times, God was molding or shaping or working something out which would be to our eternal good. He says in his word that he works all things for the good for those who are the called, for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. And that scripture is true, while we don't always understand it in the moment. So as we're going through the difficulties of life, it's always a positive thing for us and a strengthening thing for us to remember that through it, some way, God is going to bring good into this world, into this life. For myself, I always remember the cross in times like that. Everybody in that moment thought the worst thing in the world happened, that a righteous man was killed for a crime that he didn't commit, that an innocent man went to a horrible death, and at the time it seemed for no purpose. But 3 days later, when he rose from the tomb, they realized that what Pilate and what the Jewish leadership and what Satan had meant for ill, God used for the greatest good that could ever happen, and that was the redemption of all mankind. And I know if God was able to do that with the tragedy of Jesus upon the cross, turn that into the greatest victory ever, then when we get to heaven, I think we're going to be shocked when we look back at all those things that God allowed into our life that were painful in the moment, but then God used them to produce something glorious. Do good, O Lord, to those who are good and to those who are upright in their hearts. For such as turn aside to their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them away with the workers of iniquity. If we follow a crooked path, if we follow the path away from Jesus Christ, then all we can expect from God is to receive from him the judgment that is due all men if we don't accept the work that Jesus did upon the cross. We're all already guilty, every person. And the only way we escape that judgment is to take the lifeboat that God provides, who is Jesus Christ. He's the ark of our salvation. Peace be upon Israel, Israel, the people of God. Peace be upon you, my brothers and sisters, as you go out this day, trusting in the Lord. Take care.